Hi students, in the last class about the fundamental particles of an atom, that means electron, proton, neutron, discovery and about their charges and mass, E by m values are completed. Based on that topic, there are three objective bits in this topic. First question is, what is the charge and mass of 1 mole electrons? It is already known to you in the lower classes. 1 mole is equal to 1 mole is equal to 1 mole is equal to, if you want to solve this problem, 1 mole is equal to 6.023 into 10 power 23. Now calculate the charge and mass of 1 mole electrons. According to Millikan's oil drop method experiment, the charge of only 1 electron is equal to 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs in MKS system. Now here the question is, what is the charge present on 1 mole electrons? 1 mole electrons means 6.023 into the charge of 6.023 into 10 power 23 electrons charge is how much? That is the question. Answer is cross multiplication. 1.602 into 6.023 into 10 power 23 and 10 power minus 19, that is equal to 10 power 4 coulombs. This is nothing but 96,488 coulombs. It is approximately equal to 96,500 coulombs. This is nothing but 1 Faraday. So very important point in this question is how to calculate the charge present on 1 mole of electrons. According to Avogadro, 1 mole is equal to 6.023 into 10 power 23. Now according to Millikan's experiment, the charge present on only 1 electron is equal to 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. Now find out the charge present on 6.023 into 10 power 23 electrons is equal to 96,500 coulombs, which is equal to 1 Faraday. Now the answer is the charge present on 1 mole of electrons is equal to 1 Faraday. That is nothing but 96,500 coulombs. That is the answer for that first question. Now in the first question, next one is, what is the mass of 1 mole electrons? Now the mass of, in the same model, 1 mole is equal to 0.023 into 10 power 23 according to Avogadro. This number is also known as Avogadro's number, symbol is Na. Now calculate the mass of 1 mole electrons. The mass of only 1 electron is equal to 9.11 into 10 power minus 28 grams. Now find out the mass of 6.023 into 10 power 23 electrons. Now the answer is 6.023 into 9.11 into 10 power minus 5 grams, which is approximately equal to 0. milligrams. So 1000 milligrams is equal to 1 gram. So first calculate the mass of 1 mole electrons in grams. Now convert the grams into milligrams by multiplying with 10 power 3. So the answer is the mass of 1 mole electrons in milligrams is equal to 0.55. In the case of grams, which is equal to 0.0055 grams. So this is about the calculation of the charge and mass of 1 mole electrons in IIT model problems. And second question in this slide is, what is meant by theory of relativity? Theory of relativity explains when the speed of the electron is increases, the specific charge of the electron will be decreases. That can be explained by using this expression. According to theory of relativity, mass of the electron with velocity v is equal to mass of the electron at rest position whole divided by square root of 1 minus v by c whole square. This is the expression according to theory of relativity. In this expression, m0 indicate the mass of the electron at rest position. It is constant value, which is equal to 9.1 to 10 power minus 28 grams, and v is equal to velocity of the electron. V is equal to velocity of the electron, and c is equal to velocity of the light, which is equal to 3 into 10 power 10 centimeter per second. So here m0 is constant value, mass of the electron at rest position is equal to this much, 9.11 into 10 power minus 28 grams. Velocity of the light is constant for any type of electromagnetic radiation. Now these two are the variables. So according to theory of relativity, when the velocity of the electron is the specific charge of the electron will be decreases, because when this value is increases, 1 minus v by c whole square value decreases. When this value is increases, when velocity increases, 1 minus v by c whole square value decreases, and this are inversely proportional to each other. When this value increases, 1 minus v by c whole square value decreases. That's why mass of the electron with velocity increases. Now the formula used to calculate the specific charge of the electron is E by m is equal to some x value. According to J.J. Thomson's determination, the formula used to calculate the specific charge of any particle is E by m. So here, according to theory of relativity, when the speed of is increases, here the denominator value decreases, 1 minus v by c whole square value decreases. These two are inversely proportional to each other. That's why when the speed of the electron is increases, mass of the electron is also increases. When mass of the electron is increases and this value decreases, because x value and mass are inversely proportional to each other. So the very important point is, according to J.J. Thomson's experiment, the specific charge of the electron is uniform for all gases, but when the speed of the electron is increases, the mass of the electron is also increases. If the mass of the electron is increases, the specific charge of the electron will be decreases. That is concept in theory of relativity. So final conclusion is, according to theory of relativity, when the velocity of the electron is increases, the mass of the electron is also increases. Now in this formula, when the mass increases means the ratio between these two will be decreases. So that is the concept in theory of the relativity. Now the third question is, arrange the particles like neutron, alpha particle, nothing but helium particle, proton and the electron in the increasing order of their E by m value. So this is the formula to calculate the specific charge of the electron. E by m is equal to some x value. So in this formula, value and m are inversely proportional to each other. So among these four particles, neutron is neutrally charged particle. That's why for this neutron the specific charge is 0. 0 by anything is equal to 0. Among these three particles, alpha particle is nothing but helium particle. For helium, atomic number is 2 and mass number is 4. So mass is more, that's why E by m value is less. So among alpha particle, proton particle and electron particle, in the case of alpha particle, mass is 4 AMU, mass and this value are inversely proportional to each other. That's why when compared with the proton and electron, for the alpha particle the specific charge is less. Now among these two, proton is represented by like this, protium 1H1, and the electron is represented by like this, and that means among these two particles electron mass is very negligible. That's why among these two particles proton possess low specific charge value than the electron. So this is about the increasing order. So among these four particles, the specific charge of the neutron is 0, specific charge of the electron is more due to its negligible mass. So this is about the three important concepts in IIT JEE main questions. And then next topic in atomic structure is Thomson's atomic model. That means the next topic is atomic models. Atomic models are useful to know the position of the three fundamental particles in an atom. According to J.J. Thomson, Goldstein, James Chadwick, atom contains three fundamental particles, and what about their arrangement in an atom can be picturized by using so many atomic models. Among them, the first atomic model was proposed by J.J. Thomson. According to him, an atom consists of a sphere of positively charged electricity in which the negatively charged electrons are embedded like seeds in watermelon. So this atomic model is also known as watermelon model. But in this model, both positive charge and the negative charge are embedded. That's why the atom will be collapsed. That means this model was able to explain the overall neutrality of the atom. That means according to this model, the atom consists of a sphere of positively charged electricity in which the negatively electrons are embedded like seeds in watermelon. Now this is the video for the Thomson's atomic model. See here. According to J.J. Thomson, this is the representation of the Thomson's atomic model. Atom is spherical in shape, in which throughout the atom, spherical shape of the atom, positive charge is distributed uniformly. That means protons are distributed uniformly throughout the spherical shape of the atom. In that positive charge, negatively charged electrons are embedded like seeds in watermelon. This red massive part indicates the positive charge. Seeds represents the electron. That's why this atomic is known as watermelon model. So atom is a positively charged sphere and the electrons are embedded like seeds in watermelon. So this is the about the Thomson's atomic model, and this model is also similar to the plum-pudding model. Plum-pudding model. So this is the representation of the atom, and here the atom charge is positive and the electrons are embedded in this positively charged electricity. So both positive and negative combines together, the atom becomes collapsed. So that is the main drawback of this atomic model. So that's why the next model was proposed by Rutherford. So up to now, the first atomic model is Thomson's atomic model. According to him, atom consists of a sphere of positively charged electricity in which the negatively charged electrons are embedded like seeds in watermelon. That's why the atom becomes collapsed. That means Thomson's atomic model failed to explain the stability of an atom. That's why the second atomic model was proposed by Rutherford. This atomic model is known as Rutherford's atomic model, but Rutherford's atomic model mainly depends upon Rutherford's alpha particles scattering experiment. Now this is that experiment. According to Rutherford, see here, according to Rutherford, this is the video representation of the Rutherford's alpha particles scattering experiment. This is the source of alpha particles. Generally, radioactive element like polonium emits the alpha particles. These are alpha particles. They are made to thin beam by using a lead slit, and then thin beam of alpha particles are made to fall upon a thin gold foil, made to fall upon a thin gold foil. This is gold atom. Thin beam of alpha particles are made to fall upon a thin gold foil, and some of the alpha particles are directly passed through the gold foil, and very few alpha particles are scattered at smaller angles. See here, most of the alpha particles are directly passed through the gold atom without any scattering, and very few alpha particles are scattered at smaller angles that can be seen with the help of zinc sulfide screen, and very few alpha particles, about 1 in 20,000 alpha particles are deflected back along its original path. That's why based on that experiment, there are 3 observations and conclusions in this theory. First observation is most of the alpha particles are passed through the gold foil, indicate the atom is extremely hollow with a lot of empty space. When a thin beam of particles are made to fall upon gold atom, most of the alpha particles are passed through the gold foil. This diagram indicates that one. Without any scattering, most of the alpha particles are directly passed through the gold atom. Indicate atom is extremely hollow with a lot of empty space. And the second observation is very few alpha particles are here, this one and this one. Very few alpha particles are scattered at larger angles. Indicate there is heavy positive charge which is concentrated at center part of the atom, which he called the nucleus. So the best observation and conclusion in this alpha particles scattering experiment is each and every atom has a nucleus. Its charge is positive. Alpha particles are 2 units positive charge. Like charges repulse to each other. That's why some of the alpha particles are scattered at larger angles. Indicate there are repulsions in between these two. That means in the atom there is heavy positive charge which is concentrated at center part of the atom, which he called the nucleus. And third observation, very important observation, is very few alpha particles. That means 1 in 20,000 alpha particles are deflected back. See here, deflected back along its original path. Indicate that alpha particle is directly struck with the positively charged nucleus. That's why it deflected back along its original path. Indicate the size of the nucleus is very small. So these are the observations and conclusions according to Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment. Once again I will repeat. First observation and conclusion is most of the alpha particles are directly passed through the gold atom. Indicate atom is extremely hollow with a lot of empty space. And some of the alpha particles are deflected or scattered at larger angles. Indicate the heavy positive charge is concentrated at center part of the atom, which he called the nucleus. So nucleus is having positive charge. Remember that. That means the main result of this experiment is each and every atom has a nucleus. Not only gold atom, you take any other atom in this experiment, each and every atom has a nucleus. That is the main observation and conclusion according to Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment. And the third observation is very few, 1 in 20,000 particles deflected back. See here, deflected back along its original path. Indicate about 20,000 particles, only one particle is directly struck with the center part of the atom, that means nucleus. That's why it deflected back along its original path. Indicate. And third conclusion is also very important. When compared to size of the atom, the size of the nucleus is very negligible. So remember this point. The size of the atom is in the order of 10 power minus 8 centimeters. At the same time, the size of the nucleus is very negligible, which is equal to 10 power minus 12 to 10 power minus 13 centimeters. 10 power minus 13 centimeters is nothing but 1 Fermi. That means nuclear radius is expressed in the form of Fermis. 1 Fermi is equal to 10 power minus 13 centimeters. That means when compared to size of the atom, the size of the nucleus is very small. And the fourth point is the alpha particles which are comparatively denser. That means its mass is more, but deflected by the nucleus. Indicate almost all mass of the atom is concentrated at the center part of the atom, which he called the nucleus. Now, based on that alpha particles scattering experiment, he proposed the atomic model to picturize the position of the fundamental particles in an atom. So, that is known as Rutherford's atomic model. Rutherford's atomic model mainly depends upon alpha particle scattering experiment. According to Rutherford, the first assumption in his atomic model is almost all mass of the atom and positive charges concentrated at center part of the atom, which he called the nucleus. That means each and every atom has a nucleus. Its charge is positive, remember that. And the electrons revolving around that nucleus with high speed in circular paths, just as planets do around the sun. That's why this atomic model is also called as planetary model of an atom. He proposed the nucleus. Each and every atom has a nucleus according to him. That's why Rutherford's atomic model is also called as nuclear model of an atom. Remember that. So, the second assumption is electrons revolves around the nucleus with high speed in circular path, just as planets do around the sun. So, sun represents the nucleus, planets represents the revolving electrons. And third assumption in this theory is both the electrons and that means the nucleus and electrons are held together by nuclear force of attraction. So, this is about the Rutherford's atomic model of an atom. And there are so many defects in this atomic model. The first defect in this atomic model is this model failed to explain the stability of an atom based on Maxwell's electromagnetic theory. That means the properties of the light was proposed by Maxwell. According to Maxwell's electromagnetic theory of radiation, every revolving charged particle must lose its energy continuously. So, here the charged particle is electron. It also revolves around the nucleus in a circular path. That's why based on Maxwell's electromagnetic theory of radiation, that every revolving charged particle like electron lose its energy continuously at a particular time. That electron may also falls into the nucleus. At the time, atom will be collapsed. That means this theory, like Thomson's atomic model, this model also failed to explain the stability of an atom based on Maxwell's electromagnetic theory of radiation. But this is not applicable to planetary model. Planets are uncharged. That's why they does not falls into the sun. But here the particles are electrons. They are revolving around the nucleus with high speed. So, according to Maxwell's electromagnetic theory of radiation, every revolving charged particle must lose some amount of energy. Electron also lose its energy continuously. It may falls into the nucleus. So, if this is the nucleus, if this is the position of the electron, it loses its energy continuously like this. It may falls into the nucleus like this. That means atom will be collapsed at the time based on Maxwell's electromagnetic theory of radiation. That means this model also failed to explain the stability of an atom. And second defect in this theory is if the electron lose its energy like this continuously, the spectrum formed by the atom is continuous spectra like this. This is the assumption of continuous spectra. The best example is The best example is formation of VIBGYOR. White light composed of 7 different colors. It is already known to you in the lower classes. So when white light is allowed to pass through a prism, it dispersed into 7 continuous colors. There is no gap in between the violet, indigo, that means violet to red, VIBGYOR. That is an example of continuous spectra. The major fault in Rutherford's atomic model is based on Maxwell's electromagnetic theory of radiation. If the electron loses energy continuously, the spectrum formed by the atom is continuous spectrum. This is the representation of the continuous spectrum. This is the representation of the continuous spectrum. But the atoms always produce, remember that, atoms always produce discontinuous spectra. Discontinuous spectra means a distinct lines are formed from the atom, compulsory. This is the representation of the discontinuous spectrum. This is the representation of discontinuous spectrum. So once again I will repeat the second major fault of this atomic model. Second major fault is, if the electron loses its energy continuously, atom produce continuous spectra, but atoms always produce discontinuous spectra. That means in between the lines there is a certain gap should be present in between the lines. That means this is just opposite to the concept. Atoms always produce discontinuous spectra but not continuous spectra. So this is the major fault in Rutherford's atomic model. And this model also failed to explain how the electrons are distributed around the nucleus and what about their energies. How many orbits are present around the nucleus? How many electrons are present in the first circular path? What about its energy? And how many electrons are present in the second circular path? What about their energy? There is no explanation in Rutherford's atomic model. And third failure is, this is failed to explain how the electrons are distributed around the nucleus and what are the energies of those electrons. So this is about the Rutherford's atomic model of an atom and its failures. Now the next topic in atomic structure is atomic number and mass number. These are the two basic points in language of chemistry. The atomic number was determined by Moseley. It is represented by capital Z. If this is the symbol of an element E, now the atomic number is represented like this. In the left hand side, subscript indicate the atomic number. It was determined by Moseley. According to him, the atomic number indicates number of protons present in the nucleus. Example, oxygen atomic number is 8. So from this statement, the number of protons present in the oxygen element is equal to 8. So charge is plus 8. In the same way, if it is neutral atom, if this atom does not have any charge, now the atomic number Z is also equal to the number of electrons present outside the nucleus. That's why in the case of this representation, the proton number is equal to 8 and electron number is also equal to 8. That's why charge is 0. Plus 8 and minus 8, sum becomes 0. For any atom, charge is 0. So, according to Moseley, the atomic number Z is equal to number of protons present in the nucleus. If it is neutral atom, the same atomic number Z is also equal to number of electrons present outside the nucleus. That's why in this representation there are 8 protons and 8 electrons. That's why this atom charge is 0. So see here also, in any neutral atom, the number of protons present in the nucleus should be equal to number of electrons present outside the nucleus. What about its ion? For example, see this one, O minus 2. To attain the stability, oxygen accepts 2 electrons. Now this is not a neutral atom. In this case, the proton number and electron number should not be equal. They are different. Here in oxide ion, proton number, there is no change in the proton number because oxygen accepts 2 electrons but not 2 protons. That's why in O minus 2, number of protons is equal to 8, but the number of electrons present in O minus 2 is equal to 10. This is plus 8 and minus 10. So, by adding these two, minus 2. That's why charge is minus 2. So, in this case, the atomic number Z is defined as the number of protons in the nucleus is equal to number of electrons present outside the nucleus. Your statement is not correct because this is not a neutral atom. This is an ion. So, in the case of ion, proton number and electron number should be vary. So, in oxide ion, proton number is 8 and electron number is 10. And the next one is mass number. Mass number is designated by capital A symbol. Most of the students are a big confusion about the atomic number and mass number. So, please follow properly. The atomic number symbol is atomic number symbol is capital Z. Mass number symbol is capital A. It is represented like this in the form of superscript in the left hand side. This is subscript. This is the representation of the any element. For example, oxygen representation is like this, 8O16. So, mass number is equal to, mass number explains the number of nucleons present in the nucleus. According to Rutherford's alpha particles scattering experiment, each and every atom has a nucleus. Nucleus charge is positive. So, protons and neutrons present in the nucleus. That's why mass number is nothing but sum of the protons and neutrons present in the nucleus. The particles, the stable particles present in the nucleus are known as nucleons. That's why here the number of neutrons present in 8O16 is equal to A minus Z, that is equal to 16 minus 8, that is equal to 8. 8 number of neutrons are present in 8O16, but here the number of neutrons present in O minus 2, the number of neutrons present in O minus 2 is also equal to 8, because there is no change in the proton number. So, same number of same number of neutrons are present in neutral atom and its ion also. Same number of neutrons are present in neutral atom and its ion also, because there is no change in the proton number in the case of neutral atom and its ion also. Ions means charged particles. Here the charged particle is oxide ion. Oxygen accept 2 electrons to attain the stability. So in oxide ion total number of electrons is equal to 10, but there is no change in the proton number when compared with the neutral oxygen atom. So very important point is same number of neutrons are present in neutral atom and its ion also, because there is no change in the proton number. That's why the formula used to calculate number of neutrons is equal to A minus Z. So this is about the difference between atomic number, mass number, number of neutrons. Based on these 3 points, next one is what are isotopes, isobars, isotones, what is meant by isoelectronic species. So isotopes definition, isobars definition, isotones definition, isoelectronics species meaning depends upon atomic number, mass number and number of neutrons. Now first one is isotopes. Isotopes are defined as atoms of the same element having different mass number are said to be isotopes. So for all the isotopes atomic number is same, that's why their chemical properties are also same. So for example, hydrogen having 3 isotopic forms: protium, deuterium and tritium. For these 3 isotopic forms atomic number is same, atomic number is 1, but there is a change in the mass number. So that is about the isotopes. So final point is isotopes means atoms of the same element having different mass number. Isotopes are having same atomic number, that's why their properties are also similar. Now the next one is isobars. Atoms of the different elements having same mass number are said to be isobars. Some of the examples are argon, potassium, calcium. For these 3 elements atomic number is different, 18, 19, 20, but they possess same mass number. So isobars having same mass number but they possess different atomic number, different number of protons are present in isobars. That's why isobars possess different properties because they differ in proton number. And isotones means atoms of the different elements having same number of neutrons. For example, 6C14, 7N15, 8O16, all these 3 isotones having same number of neutrons: 14 minus 6, 15 minus 7, 16 minus 8. So that means these 3 are having 8 number of neutrons. So isotones means atoms of the different elements which containing same number of neutrons are called as isotones. The best examples are carbon 14, nitrogen 15 and 8O16. So the formula used to calculate number of neutrons is A minus Z. So 14 minus 6 that is equal to 8. In 8O16 also 16 minus 8 that is equal to 8. And the last one is What are isoelectronic species? This is very important point in language of chemistry. Ions having same number of electrons are known as isoelectronic species. If the ions are having same number of electrons, they are said to be isoelectronic species. For example, it is already known to you. In oxide ion, total number of electrons is equal to 10. In fluoride ion, total number of electrons is equal to 10. In sodium ion, total number of electrons is equal to 10. In Mg+2 ion, total number of electrons are also equal to 10. So, in all these four ions, total number of electrons are same. That's why they are said to be isoelectronic species. Similarly, if you want to mention other best example in the chapter is hydrogen atom, H1, hydrogen atom, and next one is He+1, and next one is lithium +2, lithium charge is +2, and beryllium charge is +3. All these are also said to be isoelectronic species because hydrogen atom contain only one electron. He+ ion also contain only one electron. Li+2 also contain only one electron. Beryllium +3 also contain only one electron. So, all these are said to be isoelectronic species. Iso means same. So, the final point is isotopes means atoms of the same element having different mass number. Isobars means atoms of the different elements having same mass number. Isotones means atoms of the different elements are having same number of neutrons. Isoelectronic species means the ions are having same number of electrons. Iso means same. This is about the atomic number, mass number, way of calculation of neutron number. Based on these three, these are the definitions of isotopes, isobars, isotones, isoelectronic species.